Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunda Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Sodanandana Radhadhana Ranjana Jaya Radhadhana Ranjana Yasodanandana Radhadhana Ranjana Jaya Radhadhana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravarachari Jaya Kunda Bihari Yamuna Tiravarachari Jaya Kunda Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunda Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Gopijana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Girivardhari Yasodanandana Radha Dana Ranjana Jaya Radha Dana Ranjana Yasodanandana Radha Dana Ranjana Jaya Radha Dana Ranjana Yamuna Tiravarachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Yamuna Tiravarachari Jaya Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jayam Vishupad Brahmahangsa Brahmadakacharya Asadhara Sadushi Shiman His Divine Grace Shalasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Hariva Slava Zabrani Bhaktam Slava Shri Guru Shri Grangi Om Agyana Timanandasya Kananjana Stalakaya Chaktur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Vidati Swapadantikam Bandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Pradina Saitam Krish Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakans Vitam Scha Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanshena Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prashubhanu Siddha Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakapa Trubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patiranam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranitinanda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 8, Chapter 19, the Lord begs charity from Bali Maharaj, text number 33. Who gave class? Was there a class yesterday? Trivikramar imalokan Vishvakaya kramishati Sarvasvam Vishnave Datva Muda Ritishyase Katam Tribira Kramar Imalokan Vishvakaya Kramishati Sarva Svam Vishnave Datva Muda Vartishase Katam. Ladies. Tribi, 3. Kramai, by steps. Iman, all these. Lokan, 3 planetary systems. Vishvakaya, becoming the universal form. Kramishati, gradually, he will expand. Sarvasvam, everything. Vishnave, unto Lord Vishnu. Datva, after giving charity. Muda, oh you rascal. Vartishase, you will execute your means of livelihood. Katam, how? Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. You have promised to give him 3 steps of land in charity. But when you give it, he will occupy the 3 worlds. You are a rascal. You do not know what a great mistake you have made. After giving everything to Lord Vishnu, you will have no means of livelihood. How then shall you live? Purport, Bali Maharaj might argue that he had promised only 3 steps of land, but Sukracharya, being a very learned Brahmana, immediately understood that this was the plan of Hari, who had falsely appeared there as a brahmachari. The words Muda Vartishase Katam reveal that Sukracharya was a Brahmana of the priestly caste. Such priestly Brahmanas are mostly interested in receiving remuneration from their disciples. Therefore, when Sukracharya saw that Bali Maharaj had risked all his possessions, He understood that this would cause havoc, not only to the king, but also to the family of Shukracharya, who was dependent on Bali Maharaj's mercy. This is the difference between a Vaishnava and a Smarta Brahmana. Smarta Brahmana is always interested in material profit, whereas a Vaishnava is interested only in satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. From the statement of Shukracharya, it appears that he was in all respects a Smarta Brahmana, interested only in personal gain. You have promised to give him 3 steps of land in charity, but when you give it, he will occupy the 3 worlds. You are a rascal. You do not know what a great mistake you have made. After giving everything to Lord Vishnu, you will have no means of livelihood. Then how can you live? Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutaya Srimate Bhakti-vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Paskadyade Siddharane. We shouldn't think that Shukracharya is just an ordinary person, that has the nerve to tell Bali Maharaj not to give charity to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What kind of demon or rascal is Shukracharya? Well, obviously he's making a wrong choice. As a matter of fact, he's going to lose one eye because of that. But in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Rishninam Vasudevosmi, Pandavanam Dhananjaya, Muniyam Apyaham Vyasa, Ushana Kavinam Muni. Is it Muni? Ushana Kavinam Muni. Kavinam Ushana Kavi. Of the Vrishnis, he's Vasudeva. Of the Pandavas, he's Arjuna. And of the sages, he's Vyasadeva. And amongst the great thinkers, he's Ushana, who happens to be Shukracharya. So Shukracharya is not an ordinary personality. Still, even if he's in the mode of goodness, what planet does Shukracharya represent in astrology? What's that? Venus. And what planet does Brihaspati represent? Jupiter. Are you an astrologer? What's that? Oh. Well, Vishaka in the spiritual world, she's also a soul, but she's an astrologer also. Chitra Devi also knows, she has, her dress has stars all over it. She also knows astrology. She knows what's the best time for Radha and Krishna to get together. That's the astrology in the spiritual world. So Ushana, Shukracharya, Venus. Venus, what's the difference between Venus and Jupiter in astrology? Is this out of character of Shukracharya? Is Venus considered a good planet in astrology? Does anyone know? What's that? Well, does Venus usually equate with something bad in astrology? What does Venus represent? Yeah, planet of love. It also represents scriptural learning, the Vedas. Who is its avatar? Probably you don't know, you wouldn't guess the avatar of Venus is Parasaram. And who's the avatar of Jupiter? No, that's the demigod. Who's the avatar? Vamanadev. So here we have Sukracharya, who represents Venus, whose avatar is Parasuram, meeting Jupiter, the avatar of Jupiter, Vamanadev. Obviously, is Venus and Jupiter friends with each other? No. They're enemies. But they're both, in astrology, they're both benefic. They both give they're gentle planets. They don't challenge they're not challenging to the soul. They give things. While planets like Mars and Saturn, they make things hard for the person. Is that bad, to make things hard in the material world for persons? Which is better, to make it hard or make it easy? Hard is better. Do you think most people will think like that? My life is too easy. I'm just waiting for my good period like Saturn to come, make my life more miserable. So, what's so good about being hard? Why should it be hard? What's that? Yeah, we have to rely on Krishna more. The material world we think the material world is a playground. We came here and let's play around here. Isn't that right? This is a place for romance. It's a place for getting ahead in life, getting famous, getting rich, getting happy, creating a dynasty. And we're the emperor of the dynasty, forever and ever. So that's what the material world is all about. We think it is, but is that the way it is? It's like a child going to the beach and he builds a sandcastle. And now he thinks, now I'm the lord of the sandcastle. But is he really the lord of the sandcastle? What happens when the sea comes and takes it away? His father comes, takes him by his hand, brings away, and the child, hey, leave me alone, it's my sandcastle. And then the ocean comes and washes it all away. So he built a sandcastle. He actually thinks, now I own something. I'm the king of the sandcastle. No one else is going to claim to be the king. And then when he's being taken away by his father, he's crying, why can you do this? I made myself something significant. So Venus gives, but it doesn't give just anything. It gives according to Shastra. Ultimately, Shastra means to rely upon Krishna, because ultimately Krishna is behind it. But if one doesn't want to rely upon Krishna, then one relies upon powerful living entities such as demigods to give what one wants. So even Shukracharya, he wants something here. He wants his maintenance. He's Venus, he gives everyone else in the universe their maintenance, but he's getting it from someone himself. In this case, from Bali Maharaj. Because Brahmins are, both Jupiter and Venus are both Brahmin planets. And Brahmins always rely upon, they don't get things, they get it from the Kshatriyas who give them charity. So Shukracharya is relying on Bali Maharaj to give him charity. Because he's the head of which group of people? Sukracharya. He's the Brahmin priest for who? The demons. So the demons also, how do they get whatever they got? How did Hiranyakashipu got what he wanted? Austerity. So demons are demons, but they do follow the Vedas, at least in terms of austerity. Although they don't really follow the Vedas, because they forget about what the real purpose of the Vedas is, namely to worship Krishna. If we don't realize who the proprietor of everything is, then we're thieves. Although we may, as Prabhupada said, we may flatter the sheriff, but if we deny the fact that he's working for the government, it's not going to work out so well. So Sukracharya, he's relying upon the demons. And here we have a number one demon, Bali Maharaj, who happens to be a devotee. So that's a trick. When Krishna puts a head demon, who's actually a devotee in disguise, it's the original double agent. Double agents are really tricky. So Sukracharya was quite surprised he had a double agent. And then Brihaspati, whose demigod, whose incarnation is Vamadev, is going to take everything away from the demons. And therefore, Sukracharya is worried. Of course, Sukracharya, we don't find in history, Sukracharya starved to death because Vamadev took everything away from Bali. But even Bali, he got a more opulent position than even the kingdom of heaven. He was pushed down to what planet? Sutala, yes. And who became his doorman? Yeah, Vamadev became his doorman. I mean, if you have God as your doorman, you're doing pretty good. Imagine the house he was living in. Like one time, this is just a story, the Pope, he wanted to drive. So he was in America, so he was driving down the road, but he wanted to drive real fast, so he was speeding. So a policeman pulled him over. And the policeman was amazed, the Pope is driving the car, but he's speeding. So he called up his supervisor and said, "What should I do?" He said, "What's the problem?" He said, "Well, I can't imagine who he's driving. It's the Pope. He must be driving God." So if you have a doorman like Vamanadev, imagine what kind of house you're living in. God's your doorman. Imagine who else is in the house. In any case, he became Bali Maharaj's doorman, and even Ravana came to visit him. Bali Maharaj, Vamanadev let him in, and he showed him Ravana wanted some charity from Bali Maharaj in order to fight against Lord Ramachandra. Because Bali Maharaj is not in favor of fighting against demigod, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But he showed him a room, a huge room, and in the room there was a mountain made out of diamonds. And it had all kinds of, it was a diamond mountain actually. And all kinds of ornaments made out of gold and all kinds of jewels on it. And Bali Maharaj said, "Well, I can't really give you charity, but I can give you this ornament. I can give you this mountain of diamonds, made a diamond mountain. You can take it back. Maybe you can cash it in somewhere. If you can take it with you." So Ravana tried to pick up the mountain, the diamond mountain. He couldn't even budge it. He said, "Where did this come from?" So Bali said, "Well, in your last lifetime, you were Hiranyakashipu. And when you were fighting against Lord Nrsingadev, one of your earrings fell off and landed here. So this is one of your earrings that you were wearing as Hiranyakashipu. By the way, you lost the battle. You got ripped up. So in your last lifetime, you were Hiranyakashipu. You lost the battle against Lord Nrsingadev, and this was your earring that you can't even pick up anymore. And yet you want to fight against Lord Ramachandra in this little incarnation called Ravana. So what's your chance of winning? You couldn't even defeat a much more powerful incarnation, Lord Nrsingadev, and now you want to fight, and you couldn't even pick up the earring that you had, whether you were wearing as in your previous life, as Hiranyakashipu, and now you want to fight against Lord Ramachandra? Forget about it. You're a loser. You can't even pick up the earring. You become so weak. In any case, Vamanadev acts as when Ravana left, seeing Bali Maharaj, he couldn't get a donation. So when he was going outside, when he was leaving, Sutapa, Vamanadev, as the doorkeeper, kicked Ravana 800,000 yojanas. Approximately, in miles, that would be 1,640,000 miles, which is approximately almost 2 million kilometers. He kicked him. Then you got to send him back to Earth real quick. So, here we have Shukracharya. He's afraid he's going to lose his income. Of course, Krishna is not going to let Venus starve. But he did get instead of becoming his disciple, was the head of the whole universe, now he had a smaller place. Comfortable though, small but beautiful. In any case, Krishna has these things for his pastimes. Shukracharya is not an ordinary personality. Bali Maharaj, he's not an ordinary personality. Who does he become in the next Manvantara? He becomes Indra in the next Manvantara. So he invaded Indraloka. Indra was thrown out of the kingdom. The demigods were taken over by the demons. Then Vamanadev comes and tricks him so that he loses everything. But still, in the next lifetime, next millennium, next Manvantara, he becomes Indra. And maybe someone comes and kicks him out too. No. In any case, this is the 8th canto. One of the purports is that we may think that if the consolation prize for being a devotee is that I can go to the heavenly planets in my next lifetime and enjoy. There I can live, instead of living maximum 100 years here, I can live 100 years of the demigods, or 1,000 or 10 million years of the demigods, which is like 180 times our lifetime here. If we live for 100 years there, it's 180 times more our lifetime. So now we're struggling to exist, this 80 years, 100 years, whatever it is. And we think if I can live 1,000 times more, then I'd be happy. I wouldn't be afraid of death. And there, everything goes much more smoothly because they're heavenly planets. You don't have to put on a jacket. You don't have to worry about the changing of seasons. Everything is just like you're in Hawaii. Nice weather every day. Nice prasadam. Practically everyone lives in harmony. Nice. You don't have to buy bottled water. Matter of fact, you don't have to buy anything there. Because you could just go by the shore of the ocean milk, pick up gold, because gold's everywhere there. There's no financial problem. There's no medical. You have the best physicians. The twin Asvinis are the physicians there. They can give, if you get a little sick, they just give you a pill and you're well again. So we may think when we go to the heavenly planets, everything would be all right. Now we're having some problems here. But if we go there, then all those problems would disappear. So to discourage us from that, we have this 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, and then the next 9th canto, to show us that it's not, the solution to our problems is not to go to the heavenly planets, even to Brahmaloka. That all they have a lot of disturbances there too. And at the end, as long as we have to leave this body, we're always going to be in anxiety wherever we are. Even Brahma is in anxiety. that he has to leave his body. He's thinking, I only have 50 years left. I better get serious. But his 50 years, he lives for 311 trillion, 40 billion years of our lifetime. So his 50 years is approximately 150 trillion years at least he has left to live. But he's in anxiety. So if we're in anxiety that we only have so many years left to live, then that's good. We should be in anxiety. We have a lot less to live than Brahma does, and he's in anxiety about how short his life is. In any case, Vamanadev, he made the correct decision. Not Vamanadev, Bali Maharaj made the correct decision. He gave everything to Vishnu, and therefore he became a great devotee. And because he became a great devotee, all his problems actually went away, and Krishna personally looked after him. So the question is, do we actually believe that it's in our best interest to try to give everything to Krishna and therefore get Krishna's protection? So this is what the story is about. In spite of the fact that even learned persons such as Sukracharya was trying to discourage his disciple from doing so. It's like if you go to your learned professors at the university and ask them, should I surrender to Vishnu? Should I surrender my things to Vishnu? How many of them will say, yes, that's a good idea, I think I'll do it too. No, they'll tell us we're a rascal. When I went to college, I was one of the better students there. It's not one of the best. And I had all kinds of friends as professors. But as soon as I became a devotee, like there was a number of devotees at the university I went to, and there was a devotee named Burjan, Trivikram Maharaj, others. And when we started to shave our heads, because at that time shaving heads weren't in style, it was long hair was in style. So when we did that, the professors weren't so favorable anymore. We were instituting the wrong kind of revolution. So if we go to our learned professors, they're not going to encourage us, yes, surrender to Vishnu, give up everything. We go to our parents, our original gurus, and say, my dear parents, I've joined the Hare Krishna movement. I want to give everything to the movement. Is that all right with you? Maybe you should give something too. Oh, they'll think you're a rascal. We're not giving you another euro if you're going to give it to Vishnu. So this is Bali Maharaj's situation is not so unique. Practically everyone in this universe, anyone being instructed to us, is telling us, don't give it to Vishnu, don't give it to Vishnu. Even their so-called priest, they would say, don't give it to Vishnu, because otherwise how am I going to live? So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions or comments?
Questions by Avadhuta Roy Prabhu. The natures of detachment, attachment, and bewilderment in the senses of the individual bodies increase the presence of devatas, demons, and rakshasas. Srimad Bhagavatam 11:25-29, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Question: if I properly understand this, in the detached person there is a presence of devatas, in the attached person of the demons, and in the bewildered person there is a presence of rakshasas. What do you think about this?
Oh, I'd rather be a devata. Anything else?
The circumference of the earth is 40,000 kilometers. So Hiranyakashipu Lila was not on the earth planet if he had so big earrings. You said something like 2 million kilometers.
I didn't say 2 kilometers. I said he was, Ravana was kicked 2 million kilometers to the earth. I didn't say the earth is 2 million kilometers, or the earring was 2 million kilometers. But anyhow, the pastime of Hiranyakashipu did not take place on this earth planet. It took place in Indraloka. So what's the problem? They put places here, and they call it, this is where Hiranyakashipu was bifurcated or something. But anyhow, this is memory places we can remember it. It's not the actual place. The actual place was in Indraloka. Hiranyakashipu was enormous. Anything else? Hvala, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.